What type of rock is basalt? Extrusive igneous. Basalt forms when molten lava comes on the Earth's surface and cools rapidly. Who wrote the Sanskrit grammar book Ashtadhyayi? Panini. Panini is considered the father of linguistics for his detailed work on Sanskrit grammar. Which famous scientist developed the theory of relativity? Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein is best known for his formula E is equal to mc2 and the general theory of relativity. How many satellites are required to get a basic 2D, latitude, longitude, position in GPS? 3. 3 satellites are needed for a 2D fix, 4 for 3D, including altitude. The tiny air sacs in human lungs where gas exchange occurs are called alveoli. Alveoli provide a large surface area for the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide between the lungs and the blood. The UTM coordinate system stands for Universal Transverse Mercator. UTM is a globally used coordinate system based on the Mercator projection. Which acid is present in vinegar? Acetic acid. Vinegar is a 5 to 8% solution of acetic acid in water. Frogs can breathe through which of the following organs? Lungs and skin. Adult frogs can breathe through their lungs on land and through their moist, slippery skin in water. What does the Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagrik Udan scheme focus on? Regional air connectivity. Udan is a regional airport development scheme aimed at making air travel affordable and widespread. In which year did the first railway line open in India, connecting Mumbai to Thane? 1853, the first passenger train in India ran between Boribundar, Mumbai, and Thane on 16 April 1853. Mushroom is a saprotroph. Mushrooms grow on decaying organic matter and absorb nutrients from it. Plants store food in the form of starch. Excess glucose produced during photosynthesis is converted into starch for storage. Discovery of India was written by Jawaharlal Nehru in which jail? Ahmednagar Fort Jail. Nehru wrote this classic while he was imprisoned for his participation in the Quit India movement. In modern terms, psychology is defined as the scientific study of mental processes, experiences, and behavior. Psychology uses scientific methods to understand internal mental states and observable actions. The Project Tiger initiative was launched in which year? 1973. Project Tiger was launched in 1973 from Jim Corbett National Park to ensure a viable population of Bengal tigers. What is the chemical formula of bleaching powder? Keocal 2. Bleaching powder is chemically calcium oxychloride, represented as Keocal 2. The Hindu rate of growth refers to the growth rate of GDP of India during 1950 to 1980. Coined by Raj Krishna, it refers to the low annual growth rate, around 3.5%, of the Indian economy before the 1991 reforms. What is the depth of the mantle layer below the crust? 2,900 kilometers. The mantle extends up to a depth of 2,900 kilometers below the crust. Which Indian state has the longest coastline, contributing significantly to its maritime transport? Gujarat. Gujarat has the longest coastline in India, approx 1,600 kilometers, hosting numerous major and minor ports. A habeas corpus writ is a safeguard for personal liberty against illegal detention. It literally means to have the body and is a major legal tool to protect individual freedom. The process where water vapor turns back into liquid water is condensation. Condensation leads to the formation of clouds. Who is the author of Clear Light of Day? Anita Desai. Anita Desai is a prominent Indian novelist shortlisted for the Booker Prize 3 times. The first attempt to calculate national income in India was made by Dadabhai Nauroji. Dadabhai Nauroji estimated national income in his book Poverty and Un-British Rule in India 1867-68. Which part of the electromagnetic spectrum, EMS, is invisible to the human eye but used in remote sensing to study vegetation? Near-infrared, NIR. Healthy vegetation reflects high amounts of NIR, making it easy to monitor. Around 1100 BCE, which group established a powerful kingdom in northern Mesopotamia? Assyrians. The Assyrians created a vast empire centered in northern Mesopotamia. The concept of positive liberty is associated with the capacity to be one's own master. Positive liberty refers to the possibility of acting, or the fact of acting, in such a way as to take control of one's life and realize one's fundamental purposes. Which Indian author won the Booker Prize for the novel The God of Small Things? Arundhati Roy. Arundhati Roy won the Man Booker Prize in 1997 for her debut novel. Repeating information over and over to keep it in short-term memory is known as maintenance rehearsal. Maintenance rehearsal is a mechanical process of repetition that prevents information from fading immediately. The fluid part of the blood is called plasma. Plasma is the yellowish liquid component that holds blood cells in suspension. Amoeba digests its food in the food vacuole. Digestive juices are secreted into the food vacuole to break down the prey. Who was the first Indian woman to go into space? Kalpana Chawla. Kalpana Chawla was an astronaut who tragically died in the Space Shuttle Columbia disaster in 2003. The atmosphere of Venus is made up of thick white and yellowish clouds of sulfuric acid. Venus has a dense atmosphere containing clouds of concentrated sulfuric acid. The dugong sea cow is primarily found in which conservation area in India? Gulf of Mannar. The dugong is a vulnerable marine mammal found in the Gulf of Mannar and Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Insects breathe through a network of air tubes called trachea. Air enters through spiracles and moves through the tracheal system. Which of the following is used for softening hard water? Washing soda. Sodium carbonate, Na2CO3, or washing soda, is used to remove permanent hardness from water. Which type of respiration occurs in the presence of oxygen? Aerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration uses oxygen to break down glucose completely into carbon dioxide and water, releasing a large amount of energy. Which of the following is an olfactory indicator? Vanilla essence. Olfactory indicators are substances whose smell changes in acidic or basic media, such as vanilla or onion. Papaya is an example of a flower. Unisexual. Papaya plants typically produce flowers that are either male or female. Which gas is evolved when an acid reacts with a metal? Hydrogen. Acids react with active metals to produce a salt and hydrogen gas, H2. Which sector contributes the most to India's GDP? Services. The service sector, tertiary sector, contributes more than 50% to India's gross value added. When was the Reserve Bank of India nationalized? 1949. RBI was established in 1935 but was nationalized on 1st January 1949. Which organization publishes the World Economic Outlook? IMF. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, publishes this report twice a year. In which state is the Silent Valley National Park located? Kerala. Silent Valley is located in the Nilgiri Hills of Kerala and is known for its unique rainforest ecosystem. The Kailas temple at Ellora was carved out of a single rock by which dynasty? Rashtrakuta. The Rashtrakuta king Krishna I commissioned this architectural marvel. Which body replaced the Planning Commission of India in 2015? Niti Aayog. Niti Aayog, National Institution for Transforming India, was established on 1st January 2015 as a policy think tank. Which type of remote sensing uses its own source of energy, like radar? Active remote sensing. Active sensors, example, radar, lead AR, emit radiation to scan objects. The process of taking in air rich in oxygen into the body is called inhalation. Inhalation is the act of breathing in, which brings oxygen-rich air into the respiratory system. The Gir National Park in Gujarat is the last remaining habitat of which animal? Asiatic lion. Gir is the only place in the world where Asiatic lions can be found in their natural habitat. What is disinvestment? Selling government shares in public sector undertakings. Disinvestment is the process of the government selling its stake in PSUs to private players or the public. Which of the following is considered hot money? FII/FPI. Foreign institutional investment, FII, is called hot money because it can be withdrawn from the market very quickly. Which type of forest covers the maximum area in India? Tropical moist deciduous. Tropical moist deciduous forests are the most widespread forests in India. A map that focuses on a specific theme, such as rainfall or population, is called a thematic map. Thematic maps represent a particular subject or topic. Curd contains which of the following acids? Lactic acid. Lactic acid is produced by the fermentation of lactose in milk, giving curd its sour taste. What is the range of the pH scale? 0 to 14. The pH scale typically ranges from 0, highly acidic, to 14, highly alkaline. What is the pH of an acidic solution? Less than 7. Solutions with a pH less than 7 are considered acidic. The red panda is the state animal of which Indian state? Sikkim. The red panda is the state animal of Sikkim and is found in the high-altitude forests of the Himalayas. Coconut seeds are primarily dispersed by water. Coconuts have a fibrous outer coat that allows them to float on water. Which scheme aims to provide world-class infrastructure in aspirational districts? Aspirational Districts Program. Launched in 2018, it aims to transform 112 most underdeveloped districts across the country. What is the repo rate? Rate at which RBI lends to commercial banks. Repo rate is the rate at which the RBI lends money to commercial banks in the event of any shortfall of funds. Who is the author of the novel Untouchable? Mulk Raj Anand. Published in 1935, this novel established Mulk Raj Anand as one of India's leading English authors. The Mesopotamian mathematical system was based on which number? 60. Mesopotamians used a sexagesimal system, base 60, which is the reason we have 60 seconds in a minute today. The long tube that carries food from the mouth to the stomach is oesophagus. The oesophagus, or food pipe, moves food via peristalsis. Which process involves transforming information into a form that can be entered into and retained by the memory system? Encoding. Encoding is the process of converting sensory input into a coded representation that the brain can process and store. The Finance Bill of the Government of India is introduced in which house? Lok Sabha. Money bills and finance bills can only be introduced in the Lok Sabha. Which of these is a master gland? Pituitary. The pituitary gland controls the function of many other endocrine glands. Who is known as the Punjab Kesari? Lala Lajpat Rai. Lala Lajpat Rai was a leader of the Indian independence movement and part of the Lal Bal Pal trio. A map drawn without a scale is called a sketch. Sketches are rough drawings based on memory or observation without accurate measurements. Which of the following is dispersed by wind? Maple. Maple seeds have wings that help them float in the wind. Freedom of expression includes the right to express even unpopular or dissenting views. True freedom of expression protects the right to disagree and voice dissenting opinions within reasonable legal limits. The PM Fasal Bima Yojana is related to crop insurance. PMFBY provides comprehensive insurance cover against failure of the crop, helping in stabilizing the income of farmers. The meanders are formed by rivers. As the river enters the plain, it twists and turns, forming large bends called meanders. The Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve was the first biosphere reserve in India. In which year was it established? 1986. The Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve was established in 1986 and includes parts of Tamil Nadu, Kerala, and Karnataka. Indian citizenship can be acquired by which of the following ways? All of the above. The Citizenship Act of 1955 prescribes 5 ways of acquiring citizenship: birth, descent, registration, naturalization, and incorporation of territory. Which is the first corporate train in India? Tejas Express. The Lucknow-Delhi Tejas Express, started in 2019, was the first train operated by a private player, IRCTC. Bread mold, rhizopus, reproduces through spore formation. Spores are released into the air and settle on moist surfaces to grow. Which part of the Indian Constitution deals with citizenship? Part 2. Articles 5 to 11 under Part 2 of the Indian Constitution contain provisions related to citizenship. What is the main disadvantage of the Mercator projection? Extreme exaggeration of size near the poles. Landmasses like Greenland appear much larger than they are in reality. Which layer contains the ozone gas layer? Stratosphere. The ozone layer protects us from the harmful effects of the sun's rays. The process of fusion of gametes in plants leads to the formation of zygote. The zygote is the first cell of the new generation. Who wrote the famous novel Godan? Munshi Premchand. Munshi Premchand is known as the Upanyas Samrat, Emperor of Novels, in Hindi literature. In which state is the Periyar Wildlife Sanctuary located? Kerala. Periyar is located in the mountainous western Ghats of Kerala and is a notable tiger and elephant reserve. A person born in India on or after 26 January 1950 but before 1 July 1987 is a citizen of India by birth. Persons born during this period are considered citizens by birth irrespective of the nationality of their parents. Nadir is a term used in remote sensing to describe the point directly below the sensor on the ground. Nadir viewing is when the sensor looks straight down. Which state has the Sultanpur National Park? Haryana. Sultanpur National Park is a popular birdwatching spot located in Gurgaon district, Haryana. Vande Mataram was taken from which famous novel? Anandamath. Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay wrote the song in his novel Anandamath in 1882. Yeast converts glucose into alcohol and carbon dioxide. This process is called fermentation. Fermentation is a type of anaerobic respiration used by yeast and some bacteria to produce ethanol and CO2. Which monument is known as the Victory Tower of Rajasthan? Vijay Stambha. Vijay Stambha in Chittorgarh was built by Rana Kumbha to celebrate victory over the armies of Malwa and Gujarat. What is the datum in mapping? A reference surface point used for measurements. Datums, like WGS 84, are used to provide a consistent coordinate system. Which monument was built by the British to honor the Indian soldiers who died in World War I? India Gate. India Gate, originally called the All India War Memorial, is located in New Delhi. The Jal Jeevan Mission aims to provide Har Ghar Jal functional tap connection to all rural households by which year 2024. Jal Jeevan Mission is envisioned to provide safe and adequate drinking water through individual household tap connections by 2024. The Shore Temple, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, is located in which city? Mahabalipuram. The Shore Temple is an 8th century structural temple located on the shores of the Bay of Bengal in Mahabalipuram. Which map scale is represented as a ratio like 1:50:000? Representative fraction, RF. RF is a unitless ratio where one unit on the map represents a specific number of the same units on the ground. What is the primary goal of description as a goal of psychological inquiry? To record a behavior as accurately as possible. Description involves identifying and classifying behaviors and mental processes. Symbiotic relationship is seen in lichens. In lichens, an alga and a fungus live together and share resources. The fusion of male and female gametes is called fertilization. Fertilization results in the formation of a zygote. Which of these is a freshwater lake? Lake Superior. Lake Superior is one of the largest freshwater lakes in the world. What is the pH value of a neutral solution at 25 degrees Celsius? 7. A neutral solution, such as pure water, has a pH of 7 at room temperature. Remote sensing is the process of acquiring information about an object without physical contact with the object. Remote sensing involves detecting energy from a distance. Which perspective in psychology focuses on the unconscious mind and childhood experiences? Psychodynamic. Founded by Sigmund Freud, this view emphasizes internal conflicts and unconscious desires. Where is the headquarters of the Southern Railway Zone located? Chennai. The Southern Railway is headquartered in Chennai, Tamil Nadu.